Another thing that you will realize, especially when you start to make it your business to boycott the simulation, which means like you're not having it, you're not focused on any of their nonsense, you're not speaking to anyone because I have deleted everybody. I moved to another country that has, where I'm like very low level French. I mean, not low. I mean, I understand something, but in other words, like not to that degree. And and then on top of that, like I don't know anybody here. Picked a small town that's not in an inner city or anything like that. Like all of these things, right? The only people who like I honestly I don't I if you know my narrative story or whatever, I don't walk with a smartphone anymore. Like if I have to take a picture, I have to go out with the whole tablet and all that. But I occasionally like have to go out with like my little this kind of phone, and I don't even take it out everywhere because quite honestly, unless I'm expecting Amazon or like I don't know, between certain hours I won't even answer it. I won't, like today is Saturday. There's absolutely like no one who should be calling me on a Saturday because I don't know anybody. Unless it's like business hours that like during the day it could be like somebody from one of these offices or something like that. That whatever related to like the school or something. That's like the only reason why I would even answer my phone. Other than that, like I honestly sometimes just go out in the street and I don't walk with a phone anymore. I've disconnected myself from the matrix, right? In that sense, in general. Um and then you'll hear like some of the Simpsons, she's like, but she's not using the phone. Like I don't know, whatever their narrative, whatever they're trying to like do, whatever, like it doesn't work anymore because like I mean, but like if I had a smartphone, I could walk with it. It's not the thing that like I feel worried about walking with it because of their narrative. I'm just saying that the way things turned out, and before when I used to have a smartphone, it was because I was on a contract in Spain with Orange. So therefore, like I was just getting cell phones, and like even though I was like in debt to Orange, like for the next like 6 years or whatever, like I could get a free cell phone in theory and go paying it little by little. But because I am in France and I don't have any contract, it's just basically pay as you go. Um, I got one smartphone and then like the kids, like they broke the screen. So it's not like something that's imperative for me to get a smartphone again, especially if I have to pay for it. So that's the way that works out. But the idea is that you will notice how much these people like basically do cartwheels to not only to get your attention, because I've said that before, like, but to try to just be around you. Okay. Yesterday, for example, I'm in my house. We're all in our house, right? At first, I was listening to music, honestly. So I was like, I thought that my kids were making like a tapping noise. And then I asked the kids, like, what's that tapping noise? Like, no, somebody's knocking on the door. We don't open anymore. Because I told you, like, well, I don't know if I told you, but the first time moving into this apartment, not knowing anybody, right? Like the first month, like these weird cops came to the door asking me about like a neighbor, right? Again, trying to do the same shenanigans like from my targeting in Barcelona. And I was like, yeah, I don't know who that person is. I've only been here like a couple weeks. I don't know. And they were laughing when they did it. They like all of the targeting experience I've had in France, like the little bots. How should we call them? What should we call them? Government agents that roam around is swearing that they're there for protection and all that of the society and the civilians. They were like always like doing shenanigans the most, and anybody who's been targeted would tell you that, right? So in Barcelona, I can't say that though. In Barcelona, it didn't appear that way because it was like a big city, but they would be like like following around the places where I would go or whatever, but not outright like laughing. You know what I mean? So certain things have like changed a little bit in the dynamics, like because obviously, if you leave an area, like once the idea is once you go pulling away from the narrative in terms of like it's not making sense because now you're no longer in this environment or now you're no longer talking to this person, because it's not sticking, then other things will become more apparent, and then it's like it's very visible, like they can't hide it anymore, that it does, that it's just all a lie. But somebody came knocking at our door, back to the point, and then like I just was like, we just like, because we know now, like now anybody will tell you, I don't care if they say it's the neighbor, I don't care If you did not call me, even when you'd call me at this point, if I'm not opening my door for anybody, I'm not letting anybody in. And that's kind of like one of the shenanigans that have been going on, that they want to gain access. I am not opening my door for anyone. I'm not letting anybody in. You can hear the music playing in my house. You can hear me talking on the phone. I will not go to the door. I will not open. I'm not participating, right? So somebody knocked, right? And I just ignored it. And then like I think like a minute or two passed, and then they knocked again. And I just ignored it. So by the time I had to go back to take my daughter to school, right? We're going down. And I didn't look at the person because, like, again, I don't make eye contact with people. I don't look at them. Like, when I'm passing by people, I, like, usually am, like, looking down, right? Because I'm not interested. I'm just not interested in participating in this little world. So the person had, like, some kind of, like, a German Shepherd. Because animals, yes, I'll look at the cute little animals, the kids, the babies, the trees, the ducks, things like that, right? So I saw it was, like a dog, whatever. I don't know if, because they were at someone else's door, right? At one of the little Archon neighbors downstairs. So I don't know if that was the same person who was knocking on our door. We just thought it was weird that person was like downstairs when we went there. It wasn't really weird because you know how the simulation works, but you know what I mean. But I even said to myself, I don't know if it was the same person who was knocking, but even imagine if it was. This person is walking with like a German Shepherd. The German Shepherd, granted, looked very calm, but I have like 3 cats in my house. Like, you don't know what these little Sims are doing, always doing some shenanigan. And I thought it was interesting, and this is why I'm telling the story, because I remember. And you can go look in my my old TikTok, the other TikTok that I have, where I do dream time, and I talk about my dreams. And one of the poignant dreams that I kept having when I was still in the other town was, with the witchcraft, that there was like this thing where they kept trying to send dogs in my dream, sending dogs into my apartment to attack my cats. And before I even saw what the neighbors looked like next door to me, when I was living in that other apartment, I dreamt about them. I dreamt that someone knocked on my door. You can go find the video. And when I looked under the door, I saw that it was like something with hooves and a skirt. Okay, so it wasn't like it was like weird. But when and don't ask me why, because like, so what I mean, like before, like when I'm dreaming, I'll be eating, I'll be opening doors. Like, why? I don't know. In real life, we're not doing that anymore. So anyways, in that dream, I opened the door, and instead of seeing the thing with the hooves and the skirt, it was the 2 neighbors next door who I hadn't met yet. And they ended up looking pretty similar. And they were like in their apartment. And then they like, when the door was cracked open, it's like they sent a dog into my apartment. And the dog went immediately not to attack me, but to attack my cats. And I have that dream in another video. What was interesting was that those neighbors didn't have a dog. So it was but a lot of the witchcraft that I was having aimed at me had a lot to do with dogs. I kept seeing these dogs trying to attack the cats, especially specific cats, because I have 3. One we know in the spirit and in the physical, she's not, I don't think she's there she might be one of the NPC cats. I don't know. But then the other 2 are definitely like more guardian, and I noticed that in the dreams that they would try to attack like specifically those 2. And even though like one of them in the real life is like really like skittish and scared, in the dream she was really protective of me. So that was really interesting, and they tried to attack her a lot, and then the boy as well. And all of those things are like in my other TikTok, right? So I just thought that was interesting that, when we saw the dog, and then I kind of like put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, was that the same person maybe? Because that's what they do. Like they'll be like loitering around, like just waiting for you to pass by. They'll be like trying to get your view, yelling, making noise, sending people to try to be friends with you. I don't want friends. I want my twin flame and my kids, and that's it. I don't want anybody. So it's like, I'm not participating in the Matrix anymore. I'm not participating in the simulation as I once did. And then it's more frustrating because now we have to keep the same characters, yes, and hold them accountable. There's not like switching of faces or no. And I noticed that, like, I know when they try to send certain people in my direction, they'll try to, like, they don't know what to send in my direction at this point. They'll try to send people of the same color. They'll try to send people of a certain background. They'll try to send people who speak Spanish. Like, they don't know what to do, especially here in France, because the demographics are a little bit different than Barcelona. So they don't really know what to do. And I don't talk to anybody, and I don't want to talk to anybody, really. Honestly, I'm not participating. As I said, we are boycotting the simulation because of all the shenanigans. Okay. So anyways, I just wanted to point that out. So you always have to be on guard, and you always have to be paying attention.